Welcome back. People who work for an incompetent boss may end up with a higher risk for serious heart disease. So says a new study out of Sweden that tracked 3,000 men and their bosses over 10 years. So if you are suffering from a bad boss, what should you do to relieve stress? Beverly Beuermann-King is a stress and wellness expert behind the Work Smart, Live Smart workshops, and she's joining us tonight from Toronto. I'm glad you could be with us.
Thank you.
So what do you think about this study? If you have a bad boss, could it really affect your heart?
Well, we certainly know that stress can cause all kinds of problems within us, both physically, psychologically, and behaviorally. And having conflict with your boss, or not being able to communicate with your boss, certainly is a source of stress.
So what should you do if you think that you might be at risk of heart disease?
First, we really need to understand what is it about our boss that's causing our stress. Is it that they're communicating in a way that we don't understand them, or that we're not getting all of the information? Is it that we're not connecting with them? We really need to break it down to the smallest pieces and find out what is it that's causing our stress, and from there we can decide what strategies are going to be the best. Maybe we need to set up some meetings and talk about how we communicate. Maybe we need to keep each other informed better through email. But once we know what it is, it's easier to figure out what strategies we need to put in place.
And on the other side of the coin, if there's any bosses out there listening and they think, maybe I'm causing a lot of grief for my employees, what should they be doing?
Certainly look at how you're managing. Are you giving the employees around you, your team around you, the respect for their time, their energy, their contribution? Are you letting them know how what they do is impacting how the rest of the company operates? People just really want to know how things are connected. Are you communicating in a way that gives them all of the information, not just one little piece of the pie, so that they have a whole picture? Are they able to talk to you in a way that they can bring their problems, bring their issues, or is it in such an environment where you don't want to hear those different kinds of opinions? So when we know that, it's easier to be a better manager.
Do you think that men and women internalize stress in different ways? Because this study only looked at men, and I was wondering if the results would be the same for women.
Well, we certainly know that the rates for heart disease are increasing in women. So I think what we need to look at is, how do we respond to stress? For many of us, it may be gastrointestinal. Some of us, it may be our immune system. Some of us feel it in our circulatory system. So we're going to experience the increased heart rate, the high blood pressure, which leads us to being susceptible to heart disease. When we know how we experience it, again, that leads to the different kinds of strategies that we can put in place as well.
And how do you know if you should just call it quits, if you and your boss just can't get along?
If it's causing you to get sick, if it's taking away the joy, the excitement, your motivation for life and work in general, that's when we really need to start looking at what can I do about it. And sometimes it really comes down to, you know, that I've tried everything and it's time to leave. And it may be leaving the company as a whole, or it may be leaving and going to a different work team.
And I just want to ask you about something else while we have you here, because we know that we're in tough times right now. A lot of companies are facing layoffs. A lot of people are facing layoffs. What's your advice to people who are concerned about their jobs right now?
Understand kind of where you fit within the organization, what's happening within the marketplace to your kind of company, and is that a real possibility? Sometimes we make mountains out of molehills. We hear all of the awful things that are going on, and really that may not be true for us. When we have a clear picture of where we stand, then we can start to put some plans in place. What are we going to do if? And put some of those contingency plans in place. What am I going to do if I get laid off? What am I going to do if you know, the markets turn, or if financially maybe I can't afford certain things, so it may not be the time to buy major purchases. We can start to plan when we look at where we stand and putting in place the strategies to not only take care of those situations but ourselves as well.
Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us tonight. All important stuff. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Good night.